Hi, it's Paul Adams again, and it's Wednesday, April 17th, 2:22 p.m., Blythe, California. You may be wondering why it is that some of the Jews, Orthodox Jews in Israel, GI, let's call it GI, not Israel. GI is more appropriate. It stands for Genocidal Israel. Why some of the Orthodox Jews in GI would spit on Christians walking by. Why? When they used to live peacefully in coexistence before 1945, along with the Arabs, no turmoil, nothing. Why would they do that? Well, I think I know why. Uh, as you know, the evangelical community, spearheaded by Hagee, Pastor Hagee, claims that it is to Israel's best interests to proceed with its plans because it'll bring more peace and safety to the Jews. Of course, they have to say that to be accepted by the Jews so they don't sound anti Semitic, right? They have to. What else can they say? They can't say, well, the real reason they should proceed with their plans is so that all these biblical prophecies might be fulfilled, you know, the wars and the final destruction of Jerusalem when the Messiah comes back for the second time, and etc., etc. They can't say that because they would be all for death and mayhem, right? They would be looking forward to the death of the Jews, the destruction of the Jews, so they can bring on the return of the Messiah. They want the ends to justify the means. In other words, if they were to be set back in time when Jesus was on this planet, they would be saying, we would like to see Judas Iscariot born into the world so he can basically betray Jesus. We would like to see born into the world the Sanhedrin, because obviously they're going to condemn them to death. So that when all this comes together, we will have the atonement, the great sacrifice that was promised to us, so our sins can be forgiven. Those are the kind of people we're dealing with here, okay? They will not tell you the real reasons. And this is why the Orthodox Jews, I believe, in GI are spitting on Christians. And this is also why a lot of ultra Orthodox Jews are protesting against the IDF draft, against Zionism, against this whole from the river to the sea end game. They do not believe that's the way to peace. They do not. And they do not want to be in a war. That's number one. And as a corollary to that, Pastor Hagee and 200 other church pastors are going to D.C. to speak in front of the House of Representatives to urge them on to keep supplying arms to Israel so that it can accomplish its mission. Its mission being what? The annihilation of the Palestinians, ethnical cleansing. That's what this is all about. And of course, now we get the icing on the cake. The other archenemy of GI happens to be Iran. And Iran has in it for the Zionists. They have been waiting patiently for the right timing, the right opportunity. Let's not forget that there's Jewish communities that are living in Iran very peacefully. They want nothing to do with the Zionists. Okay, that's part one. Let's talk about part two here. We have this, I don't want to call him military representative. I would rather call him a persona non grata, coming out in public and saying this to everybody. Just listen to him.
למיטב ידיעתי בדמשק זה אנשי כוח קוץ, זה אנשים שעסקו בטרור כנגד מדינת ישראל, ויחד איתם עסקו רק פעילי טרור, ביניהם אנשי חיזבאללה ומסייעים איראנים. לא היה שם אף דיפלומט, למיטב ידיעתי. לא מכיר אף אזרח שנהרג בתקיפה הזאת, ואנחנו לא מכיר אף אזרח שנהרג בתקיפה הזאת, ואנחנו לא מכיר אף אזרח שנהרג בתקיפה הזאת, ואנחנו
I don't know of any civilian who was killed in this attack. Well, that's one for the books. I mean, that's got to go down in the encyclopedias of history. Here is this supposed spokesperson for Israel, right? The highest military agent who is telling you that they care about civilian life. Not a single civilian was killed in this attack. How demonic is that? I mean, on what scale are we playing here? I don't believe any civilian was killed in this attack. Come on, man. How many have you killed in the Gaza Strip? Let's not even go there. You know? And then he goes on with this.
These ballistic missiles are ones that has 500 kilos of explosives in the warhead. We are talking about over 110 ballistic missiles coming from Iran, aiming towards Israel. These are 60 tons of explosives directly to Israel. Iran knew that when she was firing over 110 ballistic missiles, besides the cruise missiles, the rockets, the drones, firing 110 ballistic missiles is an escalation to the region, is a dangerous escalation. 60 tons.
So he's complaining that Iran used
60 tons.
He's complaining that all of Israel could have been severely hurt, damaged, destroyed if all those 110 ballistic missiles, along with the rockets, along with the other missiles, along with the drones, if they all hit on Israel, it would be disastrous, absolutely beyond imagination. As of January 4, 2024, Israel had dropped 65,000 tons of bombs on Gaza in 89 days. Okay, how does that compare to what Iran has just done to Israel? What kind of damage has Israel created on Palestinians? Israel says it dropped 6,000 bombs on Gaza in 1 week. That's almost as many as what the U.S. dropped in Afghanistan in 1 year. That would be like the equivalent of 850 bombs per day dropped on Gaza. And here you're complaining about 110 ballistic missiles fired on you? GI's mission has been from the very start the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, the total dispersion of Palestinians out of Gaza, the annexation of Gaza, the river to the sea endpoint. That was GI's main objective all along, and to keep Bibi out of jail. This is going to escalate. It's part of the plan. Netanyahu wants out of jail, stay out of jail at any cost. If it drags the U.S. into the war, if it drags Russia, Iran, even China, Egypt maybe, he does not care. But always remember these words from this guy who is about to fly. He is the stereotypical G.I. Joe.